Welcome, Saloni. So the audience is there and the platform is all yours. So please continue from here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dilip sir. Good afternoon. It is good to see smiling faces and around 90 of us who are gathered here in this afternoon to deliberate on something which is extremely critical. It is hanging all the time, all around us, and it is good sometimes to bring it out from the closet and speak. So I'm very, very indebted to Dilip sir, his entire team of these young, enthusiastic youth, which are always brimming with positivity. And that is what reminds me when I'm talking today of anxiety and depression. There has been the last 10 years tremendous amount of research on depression. But most of the time, people think because these are gray areas and depression anyway was called the blue disease. You feel blue. And that is where people thought it is good not to talk about it. वो depression की बात करने से यार बुरा लगता है, depression होने लगता है. And these kind of myths have made a whole lot of people not being able to handle anxiety and depression in a proactive manner. So thank you, Dilip sir, for bringing such very critical topics right in the forum for discussion and deliberations. And so many of you as young minds here, I take forward this session as an interactive. Please look at these, identify with things which are happening all around us, and I hope that each one of you will be able to spread awareness on mental health. This entire month of May is dedicated to mental health awareness. And Umeed in this month itself has created more than 50 webinars with professionals, with social organizations, with professionals who are into mental health, and of course, whole lot of schools and colleges. Bhawanipur College has been our partner initiating this positive wave. And that is why I want all of you today to understand learned optimism. Learned optimism is one of the phenomena currently being popularized by E. Seligman. This psychologist has produced empirical evidence of how your thoughts and belief systems, your value system, can create optimism in the worst scenario. And the example I would like to give to each one of you, can we think of anything in the last 100 years more dark and more depressing than Holocaust or the World War scenarios? How did people fight such negative situations? So today we are going to talk about the Umeed way of learned optimism. And learned optimism means we don't deny what is there. We accept, but we believe that whatever might be the situation, there is a way out of it. And that is why keep your pencils ready, because COVID has taught all of us one thing. It is important to take notes and it is important to revisit and review. I think last more than a year, all of us have gone back, revisiting, revamping, and rewriting our plans. Yes or no, students? Tell me. And does it make you weak or does it make you stronger? When you can revisit and revamp, you grow. It's a choice we make because we are not denying and we are not buckling down. And that is where let's look at what pandemic was for us. This mask became absolutely a banner and a slogan for the last year. And there was a lot of realization all around us that this pandemic created upheaval, it created distress, it made everything which we believed in, that this is my routine, this is my schedule, this is my workplace, everything went for a toss. Initial 3 months were a lot of confusion, then there was a lot of fear. Then, if you look at it, the third stage was people started living with it and we learned to become more hygienic, sanitizers were all around, and all the time we are helping each other. There were Zoom calls and there were people meeting and chatting, and everybody went online. And 80 years old were enjoying online, Dilip sir, more than the 20 years old. Trust me. Because it opened a new vista for them that, my God, I can sit here and talk to my granddaughter in New Jersey. Great. I like this. And we discovered a whole new global paradigm shift in education. So, whether it was a 5-year-old sitting in a small town in Nadia, or it was a 55-year-old who was a CEO and looking at starting his own venture, everybody went on for online learning. And that is why students, when we are trying to understand anxiety and depression, let us also understand what kept us moving. 2020, the year that was, what all went behind mask. We all coped and we all are there and we are coping. But then, have we been able to design a pattern? Because like your computer and your laptop works on a pre-coded and pre-loaded app. There is a coding and there is a language there. So when you press a particular button, something happens on your device. But have you realized that every new experience which we go through, it makes human brain write its own cognitive patterns. And that cognitive pattern is your new program to operate in the circumstances. What I'm trying to explain here to all of you is in this mental health month, let us pay our humble tribute to all of them who are not there and the people who have really lost hope, lost desires, lost loved ones. My deep condolences for them because grief really takes time to heal. But for all of us who have been spectators, who have felt it, seen it, we are alive, we are alert, and we better be aware. This is what I would like each one of you to understand for yourself, for your community, and your family all around you. We are alive, we are very grateful. Time is we remain alert and we become aware that of all the things which we are seeing, right from the media to the rumors, from the WhatsApp university, a popular university, Dilip sir, where everybody has been enrolled free of cost. Whatever you get from these, you will have to be very careful to be aware that what am I choosing to believe and operate from. We cannot be garbage bins that everything thrown is accepted. And that is why we have to survive by adapting, survive by accepting certain things, right from a change in your lifestyle. And we'll have to act. Proactiveness in pandemic has been a theme which everybody has understood that yes, since we have something to do, we are engaged into something productive and meaningful, it allows us to adapt and carry on. And we don't get anxious and depressed and worried. Nobody can say that I am not concerned. We are affected. Everything happening around is affecting us. But am I into a panic? Has it affected me to an extent that I have stopped working? I cannot think any further. Have I become mentally paralyzed that, oh my God, I cannot move out of the house? Then the scenario around me has started affecting me emotionally. And that is where anxiety and depression starts. So, friends, all of you who are here today, remember, have you adapted into something? Have you accepted the scenario or are you into a denial? Because a very thin line between normal and abnormal behavior, you know, Jalak, it is one thing, and that is acceptance of reality. In worst circumstances, also, if you can accept reality, you are holding on to normalcy. So, whether it is hallucinations or illusions or schizophrenia, they all start with disconnect from reality. So if any one of us feeling anxious, don't worry because if you're connected to reality and you're not able to handle it, you will feel anxious. So it is absolutely okay to feel anxious in the current scenario. But we all have to understand that when we are talking depression, that is not just anxiety or sadness, it is much more. This is a very, very famous book. Depression is not just sadness. Because the word depression, what alarms me today, and I would say that with all of you young people, you all are very, very good with your vocabulary and you all have devised so many new English words and Bengalish words where a Bengali and English is combined, Hindi and English is combined, and you have your own vocabulary. And in a lot of everyday conversation, Dilip sir, we have started using the word depression as if it is an adjective. अरे यार तू depressed लग रही है. Now today I would really like all of you to understand that it is much easier to tell you are looking sad, you're looking disappointed about something. You know, in my generation, we are still very okay telling each other that you're looking a little low. What happened? Your face is not lighted up. You are looking a little stressed. But your generation uses word depression as commonly as you are calling somebody pretty or beautiful. Depression is not an adjective. It is actually a very, very certified diagnosed disease with 14 symptoms to be present over a period of at least 2 weeks. The diagnostics of depression takes into account a detailed interview of the person for the last 2 weeks at least. And if then we see the symptoms are present, we would start therapy for depression. But we have to understand depression is classified as a mood disorder. That is why it is very fleeting. It comes and goes. And a lot of time, when you start understanding the symptoms of depression, some conscious changes in your lifestyle can help you to be away from this demon. It may be described as feeling of sadness, loss, anger, but it interferes with a person's everyday activity. So what it means, Ashwin, here is I and you also get angry on a daily basis. We also feel sad when we hear something which is not to be happy about. We also have our own sense of loss. Many of you are losing a very active year. The entire year has been very demanding and challenging for all of us. I have lost a lot of business. I have lost my dear ones. I have lost to a very large extent an entire plan which I had worked for 3 years. But none of this is interfering with my everyday activity. My sleep, my appetite, my positivity and optimism has not been affected. So I am not in depression. It is very common. People experience depression in different ways, resulting in lost time and lower productivity. It gradually creeps in, and if not treated, it can take over all your positive energy. And it is almost like you will start looking at everything from a perspective of helplessness. And that is where depression is also described in a lot of literature, if you read it on the net, as it's a creeping disease. Actually, it is like it crawls in, and if you don't deal with it, it settles and it starts spreading. And it starts taking all your approach towards everything will become kya fayda hai? Nothing is going to work out. Let it be. And it becomes a vicious cycle. Like this is the depression cycle which we look at when we are looking at the behavior. Depression generally starts with you start feeling low energy. Now with pandemic, it has become so high because a lot of us have been restricted with our daily activities. So some of you who were good with sports, some of you who always love to sit in canteen and have an adda, some of you who were always up and down in the corridors, moving around, meeting people. Corona has stopped all of that for us. So what is happening? Many of us with social connect, with our activities, meeting new people, we were energized. My entire calling of being a therapist and a psychologist comes in from my natural interest in people of all age groups. I can spend hours and hours on an airport and I am never hassled about my flight being delayed because I am absolutely on job. I have so many people to observe and see how people are behaving and who's getting irritated and who's throwing away something because they are waiting and they cannot tolerate. But for me, it is study. But today, not traveling for the last 8 months, you can imagine how this COVID situation can put all of us in a challenge that our natural energy sources have been limited. So you feel low in energy. The moment you are low in energy, what happens? You decrease activity. You are isolated. You don't move out. You stop doing your responsibilities. It leads to increased guilt, hopelessness, ineffectiveness. I am not good enough. You start attacking your self-worth. And with this guilt attack on self-worth and feeling hopeless, depression sets in. When depression sets in, again, what will happen? Your energy will be very low. So this entire vicious cycle creates a depressive cycle, which is like a spiral, and it just moves down and down and down. And people with depression are seen to start having thoughts of, there's no use of my life. What is the point living? Anyway, I am not making any difference. मेरे रहने नहीं रहने से क्या फर्क पड़ता है? And that entire thing leads to again more decreased activity. More decreased activity, more guilt. I am not doing anything. अब बहुत देर हो गई है. You know, these are the kind of things which, when I am counseling people with depression, they'll always say, it is too late. I've already lost it. So now what's the point? There's never too late, is what I have learned in life. Till you are breathing, there is time. And if we have been given time with this God or universe, whatever you call it, who are we to decide that we don't have time? There is always time. And that is why depression is a disorder that actually affects how you think, how you feel, and then resultant how you act. So the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorder, DSM-5, which we generally use globally, which is published by American Psychiatric Association, gives you a 2 weeks of time when if you are feeling sad and you have these key symptoms of low energy, lack of interest in anything, and with depression setting in, people lose interest in dressing up, combing their hair, even the daily hygiene activities go down, and you start feeling, what is the point when I'm not going out and I'm not meeting anybody? So, what is such a big deal about taking a bath? And that is where you know that depression is moving into from mild to moderate and severe. You start losing interest in everything. That is where you will understand that there's a difference between, okay, today I'm not going to college, so I am into my casuals and I'm wearing the t-shirt, which is very comfortable and thoda sa rang ud gaya hai, but koi baat nahi, I'm at home. Than being in a position where you don't want to even change a dress because you feel, what is the point? It makes no difference. That is the difference between depressive feelings. Depressive feelings and thoughts are very critical. The most common depression types, which have been diagnosed and documented very categorically for people to understand, these two are what most of the treatments are happening with. A lot of psychiatrists today work with psychologists because depression is not treated only by medication. Depression has a very strong angle of treating it with social relationships and psychotherapy. So our Saloni ma'am is a CBT therapist. Most of my colleagues working the clinical group working with me at Need, we have been dealing with a lot of adult cases. A lot of people in the crisis with their jobs start feeling depressed. There are a lot of ladies who the emptiness syndrome, when I have nobody, no purpose, my purpose was my child, the child has grown up and gone away. I feel very depressed, and that is called emptiness. I have nothing to do. Many of them even develop psychosomatic disorders. They will feel कि palpitation हो रहा है, nausea हो रहा है, मुझे चक्कर आता है, मेरा सर बहुत भारी है, I have a chest pain. You do an ECG, everything is absolutely normal. But the person feels, I have a lot of heaviness. What are these? These are many symptoms of not heaviness in your mind or in your body or chest. It is feelings of depression. So the major depressive disorder, this is the classic type of depression which I was explaining to you here. It is, they occur from mild to very severe. Persistent depressive disorder, this is generally seen as PDD. It is the chronic type of depression, which means it keeps coming back. And the patients will be depressed, then they are able to come out of it. Again, small incident, they'll again go back into depression. They start feeling as if that a normal life situation they will not be able to deal with. They go into a lot of denial. They go also into, which is also called dyspnea. Postpartum depression, this is a depression which generally happens with women after giving birth to the child. A lot of new mothers, for typically 6 months after the birth, with the drastic change in their life, drastic change in their routine, tremendous responsibility of a young newborn child, and all that which they had imagined, when it cracks in front of the brutal reality of demanding motherhood, the changes in their own body, their looks, all that makes a lot of people go into depression. This kind of a depression is not very common in men, because in spite of being a father and trying to be a part of the process of bringing up a child, the kind of change which a woman feels in her body, men don't. So this is not so common in men. But yes, postpartum depression is very high with women. Seasonal depression, this has also been diagnosed now. It is actually called SAD. And what it means is that, especially in the European countries, when there is a particular time of the year when there is no natural sunlight, there is very dark, long winter nights which are very cold. This is the time also with people again locked in their houses, not being able to commute and socialize. A lot of people start feeling depressed during that time of the year. So, there is a lot of treatment which is happening, that for seasonal depression, it is like a cycle. So people are trying, and this COVID has again brought in this kind of a depression very high. I have already seen a lot of people who have shared that I've never felt like this till I was going to my office. I have always been a very high energy person. I've been a very social person, ma'am. But now I feel as if nothing matters. I have this constant anxiety that everything is going to end. Whatever I have done till now, it is all gone down. So these are the time when you need to talk. And of course, bipolar disorder, it is very strong. It is an experience where you have extreme mood swings, and part of it goes into depression, and another part, the bipolarity, makes you move into a very high energy cycle where you will be almost like a person who has hyperactivity. This kind of a disorder needs clinical treatment for a long period of time, medication, therapy, and lifestyle. For depression, I am here limiting ourselves to, since you are understanding depression, I thought I must give you a little bit of insight into the various types which are common. Most of us, when we start feeling sad and low and upset, that is the time we need to watch ourselves. Because when I'm talking about depression, naturally people have this question, ma'am, what causes depression? There are many theories to it. However, biological, yes, changes in the function of the brain chemicals called neurotransmitters. And that is why the mood, serotonin, dopamine, if these are very, very low, you will be having depression. Genetic depression is definitely seen with genetic conditions, that if you have hereditary possibilities of you getting prone to depression is higher. So all those of you who have any elderly family member who has been under depression medication, you have a probability of being more prone. So you should be more careful and watch and create a support system to talk. Don't wait and don't deny that nahi mere saath nahi hoga. Environmental, it is very high. Today also the COVID situation will come under environmental situation, which is aggravating the occurrence of depression. Life occurrences can increase risk for depression, like a series of loss, grief. You remember that sudden fire in Park Street? That was the time I had actually handled a few cases where an absolutely healthy, well-being person went into severe depression because this kind of an accident costed him his self-esteem, his prestige, his status in society, and of course, money. So, death of a loved one, and even sometimes traumatic events like child abuse or being a victim of rape, these can also set in severe depression. So, the most critical part, even some of the medical conditions like a Parkinson disease or a stroke, can also, cancer has made people also go into depression, because these diseases are again seen as they are not curable, or they are going to limit your life very, very strongly. So these also have been seen many a times to cause very severe symptoms of depression. So anxiety and depression, the dual words which has been used today in this seminar, they actually overlap. About 60% of people who have shown depression, they also have anxiety. Anxiety and depression are generally considered to be two sides of the same coin. Another way of understanding it is that since anxiety and depression have a lot of common symptoms, they overlap a lot. And that is why some people and some research show that anxiety sets in, and if it is not treated, it will lead to depression. A lot of patients with depression have a tendency of being anxious very easily. So you will have to understand this, that one of the strong evidence of this overlap is that this study where 9,000 brain scans were done, and they found that people with depression and anxiety both have abnormally low levels of activity in the areas of the brain responsible for emotional and cognitive control. So when we are not able to process our thoughts and feelings, that is the time anxiety and depression sets. So we are not here to differentiate between the two, but to understand that how anxiety and depression both are very deeply correlated. They have their manifestation in the same part of the human mind, and they both can be affecting our thoughts and feelings. So the way we have to deal with them also comes in, the solution comes in also from dealing with our thoughts and feelings. Anxiety. I thought, like picture speaks louder than words, I have put in some of these clip arts there for you to understand what is anxiety. How people have described anxiety. If you look at it in the first picture, people have described that when I have a deadline and the clock is ticking, I feel I have anxiety. When I have a lot of work pressure, stress, it produces anxiety in me. Can you see a person sleeping? You must be thinking that, ma'am, how sleeping can be anxiety? You know, excessive anxiety also leads to excessive sleeping. I've seen adolescent. There is an exam after 1 week, and this child is sleeping for 12, 13, 14 hours. This is not natural biological sleep. This is sleep of denial. I don't want to face reality. So when I am sleeping, I feel I can handle it. I don't want to get up. So I get up, I have my breakfast, I tell my mother, yes, I'm going to study, and then within an hour, I am again sleeping. So this is not tiredness, this is not physical fatigue, this is a sleep of denial, which is a symptom of anxiety. The next is very, very easy to decipher. You feel as if your stomach, right from the center, like somebody has cut you into two pieces. Extreme anxiety, having stomach cramps, having nausea, these are also physiological symptoms of anxiety. A lot of school going children, the very first day to go to school, you will see they are all vomiting and they are crying, and you know what is it? It is anxiety. I don't know which new place I am going. I don't know whether I'll be safe there or not. Many of us have that anxiety when I am going in for my interview. So another one is I feel as if the whole world is on my shoulder. This anxiety is I feel there is a lot of pressure on me. I cannot handle it. Some people feel I'm running. I'm constantly running. I'm trying and doing so many things, still the work never gets. And I have no appreciation. I don't feel as if my running is making any difference. It's a lot of anxiety. Lot of movement without actually moving from one place to another. It is worry and constantly moving around. Another very strong image of anxiety is this one, as if your head is going to explode. Migraine, sinus, spondylitis, they have all now empirical evidence that many of these diseases, they are actually manifestation of excessive anxiety and worry. My stomach is all knotted up and the screw is getting tightened over me. All these are very, very beautiful example of understanding that in our life situations, when we start feeling like this, and we also put ourselves into a pressure cooker situation where there is no whistle for me to release the excess steam, what is happening is I am getting prone to being anxious, worrying, feeling hopeless, helpless, worthless, and moving into this cycle of frustration. A very common thing with people with anxiety is they will constantly worry. If you tell them this will not happen, they'll have another worry. But agar ye nahi to ye ho gaya to. They feel that nothing can be done. They become very indecisive. They cannot take any decision. Anxiety sets in, and then there is a lot of frustration, low tolerance. Anything irritates you a lot. You get angry at small little things. Nothing is seen as accidental or coincidental. Everything is seen as intentional. All this is happening to create fear in me, worry in me. I cannot handle it anymore. And then they have physical symptoms like sweating, physical symptoms of perspiring, a lot of breathlessness, heavy breathing, and you feel बहुत बार आपको ऐसा लगता है सांस नहीं आ रही है मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है जैसे ये पूरा प्लेस में कहीं पे भी ऑक्सीजन नहीं है and a lot of these will lead to panic attacks also. So while we are understanding this depression and anxiety, I would like to share with you a small video. This video is a very, very good understanding of how a person with depression describes that how he has been with a black dog. It's a very, very famous released by WHO, this video, which talks about the symptoms and how you need to handle and understand depression. So Pinky, you will kindly let me know if the video is visible to all. Is the video visible on everyone's screen, please? Gautam?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just let me know if the audio is clear.
I had a black dog. His name was Depression. Whenever the black dog made an appearance, I felt empty and life just seemed to slow down. He could surprise me with a visit for no reason or occasion. The black dog made me look and feel older than my years. When the rest of the world seemed to be enjoying life, I could only see it through the black dog. Activities that usually brought me pleasure suddenly ceased to. He liked to ruin my appetite. He chewed up my memory and my ability to concentrate. Doing anything or going anywhere with the black dog required superhuman strength. At social occasions, he'd sniff out what confidence I had and chase it away. My biggest fear was being found out. I worried that people would judge me. Because of the shame and stigma of the black dog, I was constantly worried that I'd be found out. So I invested vast amounts of energy into covering him up. Keeping up an emotional lie is exhausting. Black dog could make me think and say negative things. He could make me irritable and difficult to be around. He would take my love and bury my intimacy. He loved nothing more than to wake me up with highly repetitive and negative thinking. He also liked to remind me how exhausted I was going to be the next day. Having a black dog in your life isn't so much about feeling a bit down, sad or blue. At its worst, it's about being devoid of feeling altogether. As I got older, the black dog got bigger and he started hanging around all the time. I'd chase him off with whatever I thought might send him running. But more often than not, he'd come out on top. Going down became easier than getting up again. So I became rather good at self-medication, which never really helped. Eventually, I felt totally isolated from everything and everyone. The black dog had finally succeeded in hijacking my life. When you lose all joy in life, you can begin to question what the point of it is. Thankfully, this was the time that I sought professional help. This was my first step towards recovery and a major turning point in my life. I learned that it doesn't matter who you are, the black dog affects millions and millions of people. It is an equal opportunity mongrel. I also learned that there was no silver bullet or magic pill. Medication can help some, and others might need a different approach altogether. I also learned that being emotionally genuine and authentic to those who are close to you can be an absolute game changer. Most importantly, I learnt not to be afraid of the black dog, and I taught him a few new tricks of my own. The more tired and stressed you are, the louder he barks, so it's important to learn how to quiet your mind. It's been clinically proven that regular exercise can be as effective for treating mild to moderate depression as antidepressants, so go for a walk or a run and leave the mutt behind. Keep a mood journal. Getting your thoughts on paper can be cathartic and often insightful. Also keep track of the things that you have to be grateful for. The most important thing to remember is that no matter how bad it gets, if you take the right steps, talk to the right people, black dog days can and will pass. I wouldn't say that I'm grateful for the black dog, but he's been an incredible teacher. He forced me to reevaluate and simplify my life. I learnt that rather than running away from my problems, it's better to embrace them. The black dog may always be part of my life, but he'll never be the beast that he was. We have an understanding. I've learned through knowledge, patience, discipline and humour, the worst black dog can be made to heal. If you're in difficulty, never be afraid to ask for help. There is absolutely no shame in doing so. The only shame is missing out on life.
This is the official video released by WHO on understanding depression. And I think you all must have noticed that how the size of the dog keep varying with your thoughts and your mental state. What you feel, what you think about it, so beautifully decides the size of the dog. And look at it, how at the end of it, when you find yourself, you find your self-worth, you find your confidence, the dog actually is having a leash. You are having a control on it. So all of us can feel sad. It is absolutely okay. All of us will feel in life situations sometimes hopeless. We will also feel that I wish this would have not happened. But in spite of saying all that, we have to keep moving on and we have to keep learning certain ways in life which will allow us to bounce back. And that is where, if you start seeing that I am being indecisive, I am getting very snappy, I am getting frustrated, you need to start looking at during this COVID time when possibility of this is very high, what am I going to do? Am I going to talk to somebody? I'm going to reach out. How am I going to? And that is why I want all of you to realize that depression, in spite of being so common, it is one of the most treatable mental disorders. 80 to 90% of people who have reported chronic symptoms of depression, they have responded to the treatment and so many of them are absolutely out of it. Almost all patients have got relief from their symptoms after taking therapies, after bringing change in their lifestyles. And that is why whenever you are feeling that, yes, some of these symptoms are there, we actually need your medical history. We look at family history. We look at the cultural factors, what has happened in your life in the recent last 3 to 6 months. And then the therapist will be able to work with you on a plan. That is why it is very, very important that the moment you start feeling any of these, let us start talking. When we are going to talk, in depression, the problem is that the person who's feeling depressed has no energy, feels everything is worthless, is not motivated to talk. So, sometimes a family member, a very caring friend, a companion drags you and says, no, we have to talk. You cannot give up. That also helps a lot. And I hope many of you will be able to reach out and see if we have people around us who have started treating themselves that I don't matter and it is all too difficult for me. We have to start with these 3. First is counseling. Have a therapist who can start talking because therapists are trained to deal with it. Lifestyle changes, exercise, proper sleep, appetite, eating with a few members of your family rather than eating all alone on a tray in your room with a laptop on your lap. A lot of these small changes have brought out a lot of difference to people. And a technique which all of you can learn is thought stopping. Like suppose thoughts are like a cycle and they are chained. One thought will link to another, then there's another one, and they keep linking and they become a big jumble. So if you feel that, ma'am, my thoughts today in the morning was that everything is gone down the drain, nothing is going to happen. ये second wave है, फिर third wave आएगा, फिर fourth wave आएगा, वैसे ही दुनिया चलता रहेगा और ये पढ़ने वढ़ने से भी कोई फायदा नहीं है. And there is no. Now, the part of it has started with reality that yes, there is a second war. Already people are saying that for us to be able to, in a country like India, you need another level of vaccination to happen. Already another story has started that this vaccination जिसको हुआ है उनको morbid traits आएंगे. All this is very, very annoying and confusing. So what you have to do is thought stopping. So what do I tell myself? Just stop. And I have also taught patients that they can keep a red button, they can keep a red ball. This lady, she really said कि Saloni, तुम्हारा red ball मुझे बहुत काम आया. I'd actually given her those smiley balls. The yellow smiley ball was, she had to look at it every time and tell herself, I have to be this. Yellow like a sun like a sunflower. And sun and sunflower are positive energy. What was the red ball? When I start being gloomy, when I start looking at everything, kuch nahi hoga. She said, and as you had taught, I would take the red ball, squeeze it, go and wash it and put it. And this was her ritual to stop thought. So whatever my thought was, I will stop it and I will wash it. So if the thought is that everything is going down the drain, I will just stop thinking from there. I'll start thinking something else. We train people that, okay, you have a ritual. The moment you start having these negative thoughts, you're going to get up, you're going to go in the balcony, you're going to give water to these two plants which are there, and you will see that they have more new leaves and there are flowers coming up there. So your thought stops. Try that. This is not something for which you need a therapist. All of us can do that. Because you will see you don't panic and you don't get anxious with one or two thoughts. When this spiral starts, one connects to the other connects to the this, and then we keep adding. What happens? We start going down. So the trick is stop. Just stop thinking on those lines. And how you do it? Physically doing an activity. You get up, you go out in the balcony, you have to water a plant, and you to come back. That negative thought strain stops. Right? Another way, very simply, people say, ma'am, so that means I have to distract myself. I said, no, you don't have to only distract. You have to stop thinking. It is not that you will distract and start thinking something else. You have to stop thinking. And how you stop thinking is when your brain is going to be into some movement, kinesthetic. You have to complete a task. Your cognitive functions will get into that direction. Thought stops. Just do it. That is why, in a lighter vein, when I'm feeling low, I meet a friend and the friend starts talking something else. What happened? Automatically, thought stopping happens. I was having a strain of thoughts and I was feeling low and I was thinking, kisi ko parwa nahi, but a friend slaps me on the back and says, "Arey yaar, yahan baitha hai, tu kya kar raha hai? Chal canteen chalte." Now, you physically moved, you picked your bag and you started going, even if you didn't want to go to the canteen, you didn't want to argue with him. So what happened? You went, and while you were walking down the stairs, some other thought comes in, your thought stopping automatically happened. But now in COVID times, when each one of you is in your house and there is no connect, thought stopping is not happening. And a lot of people are creating these spirals and getting into anxiety, panic, and depression. That is why, let me help you a little more in dealing with it. Look at it. This is the emotional spectrum of human beings. We are capable of experiencing so many emotions. And because we are capable of experiencing these, look at it, the blue one, which is called the depression blue, is sad. The red is mad. Mad actually means anger. And scared, which is fear. Peaceful, joyful, and powerful, these are positive emotions. It is absolutely 50-50. You can be on the upper side or you can be on the lower side. And how do we decide that? The thoughts we have, the choices we make, the books we read, the people we meet. Simply put, your environment and how you interact with your environment. Your environment is just a external factor. Like a cyclone which is raging in Calcutta today, for somebody it is a reason to feel depressed कि बस अब यही बचा था, अभी तक कोविड हो रहा था, फिर इलेक्शन हो रहा था और अभी साइक्लोन आ गया, अब बस दुनिया में कुछ नहीं बचा, अब हम लोग को मर ही जाना चाहिए. You know, all these three are absolutely facts. They have come, they have had their own pain, and a lot of people have found some joy also in it. Some people are already saying कि अरे ये साइक्लोन है, बट ये अम्फान की तरह नहीं है, ये साइड से निकल रहा है, इतना पैनिक का जरूरत नहीं. बट हाउ आर सम पीपल पैनिकिंग? 2 चार्जर रख लो, 3 बैटरी चार्ज करके रखो, सब फोन चार्ज कर लो, सब ये कर लो, अभी तो साइक्लोन हो जाएगा, उरी बाबा क्या होगा उसके बाद पता नहीं, दुनिया में परल. अब look at my thought. If I'm going to keep speaking like this, tell me, how am I going to feel? I'm sorry if I'm sounding a little melodramatic, but I'm just trying to demonstrate to you how powerful your thought and self-talk is. You think like this and you talk like this, you will start feeling like that. Now, how much of it is actually a reality? There is so much of 5 days prior warning, right from sailors and fishermen and boat people, and already people have evacuated. There is already so much done. You anyway sitting in your house is not adding to the problem, nor are you doing anything. But what am I doing? I'm just getting hyper, standing in my own balcony and imagining कि कल तो पूरा प्रलय हो जाएगा, सब खत्म हो जाएगा. So what is the point doing anything? Why should I cook? Why should I study? Let me leave everything. Look at it, how that entire spectrum, the brown, red, and blue are related. It starts with anxious. Anxious, insecure, helpless, confused. Then you start feeling rejected. कोई फायदा नहीं है. If you come to the sadness, the blue part, look at it. You feel sleepy, bored, lonely, depressed, ashamed, guilty. Look at the gradation. From sleepy, sleepy is not that I want to sleep. स्लीपी इज हर समय ही नींद आ रहा है, क्या करना है, उठ के ही क्या करना है, कहाँ जाना है, कोई तो आ नहीं रहा है, क्या पॉइंट है. We start cutting all the positive things around. That is moving towards anxiety and depression. So look at it. If I'm bored, lonely, ashamed, guilty, I'm anxious, insecure, helpless, confused, how will you feel? You are moving towards depression. Just look at the opposite side of it. Content, thoughtful, trusting, nurturing. You know, even something as simple as an activity like gardening done in COVID is a nurturing activity. I have been doing it from 10 pots in my garden, which in my terrace, which I hardly had any time before Corona. Today I have 120. And I have been nurturing plants. एक प्लांट से 4 बना लिए हैं मैंने. I have learned so much on the apps of gardening. I started creating compost. All my kitchen waste is going into now making the kitchen compost, and I'm using it for manure. And I cannot tell you the joy I have when in the morning I go and I see a new bud and a new flower and 10 new leaves. My grafting has also become successful. My money plants are very successful. I have tried water. I've tried sand. I have tried another. What is this? This is joy. Joy of doing something new. Nobody takes it from you, friends. Are you doing something like that every day? Or are we feeling stuck? Aware, creative, create something. You know, one of the most creative things I've done during COVID is I've created a scrapbook. And what is this scrapbook all about? At 50 plus, why am I making a scrapbook? It is no longer a school project or a college project. I'm making a scrapbook with this hope that when I'll be a grandma and 20 years down the line, when my grandson is going to study in history books, that there was a year 2020. And this is what happened in the world. He might turn around and ask me, Grandma, you must have lived in 2020, what it was. I have a complete scrapbook to talk to my grandson or granddaughter, whosoever I have, that yes, I lived in 2020. And, you know, I've pasted various kinds of masks in that scrapbook that I'm going to tell my grandson that, yes, this is what we would wear the whole day. And I've collected so many pictures. I don't know whether it is going to happen or not, but today talking about it gives me joy, gives me hope, and this is learned optimism. I've talked about it to my sons. Initially, their reaction was, Mama, you can keep yourself busy. This is really an art we need to learn from you. But yes, there was so much of joyous conversation. So, being joyful is not only external, energetic, creative, playful, amused, stimulate, fascinate. Imagine all this in your hands, and no amount of COVID and lockdown is going to take that away. Look at the whole spectrum which human beings, and to be emotional is to be human. It is not just a catch slogan. It actually makes sense because it is only human beings as a living species who can experience so many emotions. Most animals can experience only basic 5 to 6 emotions. That is why the most complicated part of human mind is your ability to emote and feel these sensations. So why is it that we cannot choose to feel these 30 which help us rather than constantly choosing to feel bored, lonely, ashamed, guilty, foolish, weak, insignificant? मेरे करने से भी क्या होगा? And we all are in Bengal. Ekla Chalo is still something which is like a slogan for Bengal. So who am I today to tell myself that मेरे अकेले से क्या होगा? That is why literature, quotations, books, movies, everything has so much. You should actually create a journal for yourself, which is your own inspiration. When I feel low, I am going to do this. We all understand, or you all must have learned about mindfulness. Trust me, it sounds very easy, but if you do it, it changes your life. A little bit of mindfulness and contemplation, the practice of constructive silence. I sit somewhere with nature, anything green, anything blue, water, flowing water, even sometimes, looking at a picture of your last vacation when you went to Uttarakhand or you went for some camping are very good ways to practice constructive silence. It will not only help you recenter in stress like many are facing. Opposite to this, what are many people doing? वो तो 2 साल पहले गए थे, अब तो पता नहीं कभी जा भी पाएंगे कि नहीं किसी वकेशन में। कोविड में तो सब दुनिया ऐसा हो गया है, छोड़ो ना वो सब क्यों देखना। That also is a choice. That is a choice of moving towards everything is hopeless, worthless, nothing is going to happen. Another choice is look at it. There are millions and millions of industries who are based on travel and tourism. So there are so many people who are waiting that no things will be better. Right from an old couple I know of who actually have a bread and breakfast thing in Almora. And I had actually booked something in June last year in March before pandemic. I had to cancel it, but it is so nice. We have conversation 2 to 3 times we have spoken. And I love the enthusiasm of that old couple. She keeps sharing with me that what all she has enhanced in her cottage because after a year again people will come and that's what gives her happiness. She has not given up and at age 72 she is so full of life. That's joy. That is being connected. And one of the best things to do is please do this deep breathing. Whether you do yoga, whether you do meditation, you do power yoga, something which will really help you is positive imagery. This is the art of you close your eyes and you think of one picture which gives you happiness. It can be childhood, it can be a picture of your family, it can be you going in for a beautiful vacation in Goa with your family or friends, whatever. But create a positive imagery. If you will have that, it is always going to provide you solace. Past pleasant memories, positive imagery, mindfulness, yoga, meditation, or simple relaxation technique. Go onto the web, you will have hundreds of TED Talks on mindfulness. You have hundreds and hundreds of videos which in 10 minutes will teach you how to be in the moment. Or simply take a cup of coffee, sit in your balcony, close your eyes, and just imagine that I have had such a beautiful experiences with my family and friends. and you move into a sense of, in this moment, I am alive, I am healthy, I am having my favorite coffee in my hand, my family is safe, I have two square meals, I have a lot, and I am very happy. This is contentment. This is satisfaction. And that is what it is. Anxiety and relaxation are mutually exclusive. What they are called, if you are anxious, you cannot relax. But if you train yourself to relax, you will not get anxious. So, those of you who have a tendency to get anxious, please train yourself into relaxation techniques. Yoga is very, very good with relaxation techniques. You can even practice mindfulness, depends on whatever is convenient. And a very good thing is that 10 of you make a group and you make it that every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we meet together. We do positive imagery, we do 10 minutes of relaxation exercises. Now there is a social connect, and we are also building up our repertoire that we are never going to be beaten down. Depression is not for me. I have too many things to do in life. New normal is the word which you all are hearing. My question to you is, more than 14 months into pandemic, have you developed some new lifestyles? Have you made any of these healthy habits your part of your lifestyle? I've done more cooking in last 1 year than I would have done in the last 15 years. Cooking is really therapeutic. You know why? Because cooking is within an hour or a two, you can actually produce something, you can eat it. So the outcome is immediately there in 2 hours. Many other things, if you try doing, the result is not there in front of you in 1 or 2 hours. You can taste it, you can share it. So it is very tangible. So all of you, all the boys who are listening to me, please go and bake a cookie, bake a cake, learn to make something, look at the YouTube videos. And you all know that baking and food technology and food is a whole industry. COVID has proved it is the only recession free industry, food. So look at it, that can I do some low fire, without fire, baking, cooking, microwaves, all of us is available. Let's use them. Those of you who are looking at staying abroad, having your career abroad, it is must, it's a life skill. And right now, it is a very, very good real technique to bring yourself into touch of reality and do something which is instantly tangible and productive, makes you full of joy. If you feel anxious, go and bake something. You will start feeling better. And if two people taste it and say, wow, this is delicious, you cannot help to have a smile on your face. You'll say, yeah, it feels good. And then you will think that why was I not doing it all this time? I was only thinking what I don't have, and I'm not going to college and I'm not getting this. All this which I have, am I thinking about it? This is what is your approach to life, what I choose. Fit moves forward. There is enough literature, enough research, hundreds and thousands of pages. Scroll through and see how people will tell you. Because the scan of brain shows that when there is not enough dopamine, people will go into depression. Regular exercising, it improves sleep, it decreases anxiety, it boosts your self-esteem. You feel lighter, you feel fitter, you feel, yes, I have more energy. Reducing weight is just one part of exercise too. But you will see the people who exercise very regularly are not bothered about maintaining a body weight. They are more about the beautiful emotional benefits of regular exercising. It makes me feel light. It makes me feel I have arrived in life now. So just look at it. Are you doing exercise? And stop giving yourself excuse कि अभी हम I cannot go to Victoria. Ma'am, before Corona, I used to go for a walk to Victoria. Victoria is not going anywhere. The Victoria Greens are also going to be there. But during COVID, because I cannot go to Victoria, have I taken a skipping rope? And in my veranda, can I do skipping? 6 by 6 space is enough for you to do exercise. You don't need anything more than that. But you need a desire. You need a zeal. Simple daily workouts. I don't know how many apps we have nowadays which are only teaching you 7-minute workouts, 15 minutes workout, full body workout in 10 minutes. Choose whatever suits you. but never tell yourself, we don't be in a denial. Actually, इसलिए मैं नहीं कर सकता. And exercising together in groups is really wonderful. I am also a part of a group where there are all ladies above age 50 and they meet twice in a week to do these breathing and yoga exercises. It is really nice. You meet, socialize, and then you are with everybody. So it really brings in that if everybody is counting till 10 and they can hold their breath, how am I getting anxious in 5? So let me try at least 7, 8. So धीरे धीरे 10 होने लगता. And the most important part of keeping depression away is take care of your resources, people around who matter. Empathy, kindness, gratitude. These are the key words which have emerged in COVID times, which are making people fight back. This is my beautiful imagery and memory of my Umeed office the day I inaugurated it in our new setup in the month of April. So Pinky and Trina are very much a part of this picture, as you can see. And yes, some of these happy moments being treasured is what never makes me give up. All of you look at it. What is your support system? Parents, teachers, even your support staff, your friends, pets, the community to which you belong. We know we have all become like icons on this laptop, but then we are real people and we are going to stay connected. So people around who matters, please share, write a letter. Many of you might have not written a letter for last many years. Write an email, create a talk, make a time when all of you can play an online game. Any such thing, carry on doing. All of you as friends who have today gathered here, you all have been having online classes. Make your own hobby clubs, make your own small little areas where you will all be sharing. Expressing gratitude very openly, letting people know that I thank you for what you have done has a very, very deeper meaning. It fills you with a lot of positivity and optimism. This is what everywhere people are talking about when you create these happy chemicals, dopamine. This is called the reward chemicals, serotonin, the mood stabilizer. Look at what the activities experts are suggesting. Complete a task, doing self-care activities, eating your favorite food, celebrating little wins, small things which you have done, meditating, running, exposure to the sun, walking in nature, swimming. All these are natural things which create these happy chemicals. And more you have them, more they stabilize. You will not be ever pulled by the black dog into imagining that the dog is so big and you are so small. Love, holding hands, hugging, looking at family pictures together, playing a game of chess with your father after many years because now you have time, taking out a guitar and humming it. That yes, we used to do it in school days, college में तो time ही नहीं मिलता था. Any such thing. And even doing laughter exercises are very, very good things to do. All of you should join together, make groups of 10, 12 people and just practice this. It is not only COVID, you will actually practice a lifestyle where you are never dependent on anybody for happiness. You know, happiness comes from within, it comes in from my thoughts and my choices. I will not wait for one fine day to be happy. One of the best things which I have done during this Corona time is I have enrolled myself with Coursera and I am taking a degree further on optimum health, happiness, and well being. And it is a wonderful course where I'm meeting so many new people, I'm interacting with people. I am supposed to record a video, I am having supervision sessions, and it has added so much to my happy hormones, a sense of learning. A lot of international university students have also been doing something which I want all of you to hear. Meanwhile, those of you who have a question, you can keep it ready. And before I show you this video, a message for all of us. This is not the year to get everything you want. This is the year to appreciate everything. This is acceptance. And when we have acceptance, we will never be depressed because we are not denying. Acceptance gives you satisfaction, contentment. It is deeper than just being happy. Any of these symptoms, if any one of you have, more than ever in this year of pandemic, we have heard helplessness, despair, deaths, many operating systems which we thought this is my safety net. It has not worked. Look at it, everybody thought I'm going to save money for my bad times. What has Delhi seen in last 1.5 months? 80,000 doesn't give you a bed in the hospital. 20,000 is not enough to buy a cylinder of oxygen. So is really money something which was our safety net? So when you have a lot of our thoughts and old things being challenged, it is very natural for people to feel low. And that is why this is the time we need to fight back and emerge stronger by making happy, healthy choices. Understanding it. This whole session today is about you understanding it. And if you are having poor concentration, you feel worthless, you have lack of interest, please seek help. And I want all of you to say that it's okay to seek help. When you seek help, it does not mean that you have become weak. It does not mean that you have become vulnerable. When you seek help, what it means is that I am accepting that right now I need to do something about my feelings. And that is why it is absolutely okay to feel I need help. And tell me if at any point of time when you feel that you need help, this counter thought that if I'm going to ask for help, people will judge me, people will laugh at me, stops us from sharing. This is what you have to break, because there is nothing which is to be judged by others. It is all about I being ready to accept, adapt, and the next video which I'm playing for you is a lot of students on the foreign campuses. They talking about mental health and what have they chosen to do to deal with this corona crisis. So Trina, is the video visible to all of you? Thank you.
I guess self-care, doing the things I love personally, keeping busy.
I do soccer, volleyball, just to take my mind off like whatever I'm going through. I just like keep my mind collected and I talk to my friends like usually about it.
I buy myself some masks, I take a bath, I listen to like slow music so that it calms me down because I'm always stressed out.
Swimming, I do piano, and it's not always like work or study.
I think the best thing for me is exercise, and I think every time that I have poor mental health is when I'm not getting exercise and I'm not eating well.
Having some internal conversations with myself, think through the issues and like kind of being the second voice of reason to myself. So it's like, it's okay if you feel like this, it's not that big of a deal, you can get through it. It sounds very cliche, but it actually helps.
What helped me the most was meditation. 10 minutes of meditating daily. Right now, I don't suffer as much from anxiety because I learned to live with it and to deal with stressful situations. So yeah, this is my way of dealing with anxiety and my mental health.
For mental health, you really need to say, okay, what do I need to have in place to be resilient in an environment, university, that is tremendously demanding? I need to be able to be within myself, calm, and able to handle those stressors. So this is within individual resilience. One can get that by really focusing on things. We see a lot about mindfulness now. There are other stress management techniques that you can use. Another big part of being well is a social support and connection, working actively at that to really make sure that's in place. Being mentally healthy goes beyond just meeting with a mental health professional one-on-one. This can be something like accessing the peer support that's available on all campuses, looking at other resources, looking at online resources that can help you develop that stress management I was talking about. So there's all kinds of gradations of taking care of yourself, and you need to use all of them and not wait until it's becoming a crisis. Do it proactively, preventatively.
What's really, I think, important is how to maintain positive emotions. I use exam time as an example, but it's sort of a clear example of a period where people might think, oh, I'm really stressed and I have to do really well, and they put a lot of pressure on themselves, so I have to study more, and so I'm not going to see my friends, or I'm not going to exercise, or I'm not going to go to my, club or something like that. Sometimes they start to cut out the social networks and the activities that actually keep their positive emotions high and give them a sense of support and an uplift. So I think if students can acknowledge that they're going to feel stressed, they might feel distressed, they might feel anxious, they might feel sad and tired, but if they can maintain the activities and the relationships that can boost the other end, then overall they'll be able to sort of balance their well-being, especially during the really stressful times like exam periods.
More awareness, maybe have some banners, some more, publicity.
To make it very visible in campus that if you have mental health issues, come and see us, and maybe post it online. If it was more accessible to the students, it would be better. Or most of the people either want one-on-one interaction or they just avoid their problems.
I found it hard to meet students since I moved here. It can be a little bit confusing if you're just moving in, so maybe to make that stuff a bit more accessible.
Universities, typically have a lot of programming. So there's Student Success Center, there's counseling and mental health, there's extracurricular activities. But I think what universities are struggling with is how to coordinate some of this and how to direct it to the students who really need it. So maybe for some students it's that initial transition. If they've moved away from home, if they've moved really far away from home, they don't have a social network. So having sort of targeted interventions for particular groups.
One of the really important aspects of how to address mental health on campus that I think is really overlooked currently is that not all students are equal in terms of the access that they feel they have, their willingness to help seek, because of the differences in perceived mental health stigma. Specifically, international students who may come from cultures where the mental health stigma is just off the charts relative to even what our own students here in a Western context already feel that stigma. These students have no way of really even finding out what the resources are because they are so fearful of coming forward. There has to be a better way of reaching these students to provide support for them in a truly anonymous and confidential manner.
That they're definitely not alone, that I think everyone struggles with mental health.
Take a deep breath because, don't take life too seriously. The grand scheme of things is much larger than just school. Do not stay at home or don't seclude yourself.
Speak to your loved ones. You'll feel better after. It's 100% sure.
I'm looking for advice myself. I honestly don't know. I think it's really try to look around for resources as much as you can.
Every time think about about any situation that you are in, you are not gonna stay in that for a long time.
Get to a counselor or some friend and try to share your problems so that you might get a solution. You will never know.
So I hope you heard a lot about what we were talking, echoing all around. Talk to your loved ones. Don't be secluded. Don't shut yourself away. COVID is physical distancing to keep away the virus and infection. But our mental health, our social connections, our purpose in life, our own thoughts and feelings, we cannot give up on them, and we cannot tie everything only to COVID and start looking at it as if everything has come to an end. It has not. That is what life is all about. And that is why the learned optimism is that when everything is going to start showing us, we are going to believe in something which is working and focus on that. Bhawanipur Education Society College has been a partner, and so many of you must have gone through the screening process who are today here. This is an entire UMEED team, our senior counselors, supervisors, everybody has been there, where we have been doing the screening of life skill and helping so many of you that while you take admission with a course, you are also able to select a lot of other activities which will build your skills. That has been a very major part of your college program, and I am sure so many of you have benefited. You have discovered your talents. Right now, when whatever the college is providing to you through online, I'm sure you are taking advantage of it. When we are talking about counseling, which we are offering at UMEED, I would like to tell you that we use the strength-based approach. The counseling which focuses on what is going right in a person's life, what are the person's abilities, how the person copes, is something which will help you to deal with your current issues also. 20 years back, Saloni ma'am completes 24 years of my professional work. I had coined this that in a sense, counseling is integrating body, mind, and soul. Life is great. UMEED counselors make it better. And with this strength-based and holistic health, we have been on schools and campuses and engineering colleges and MBA and your college, helping students with learned optimism. You have a whole life ahead of you. So depression, suicidal thoughts, addiction, these which are seen sometimes as temporary solutions or people just get into it thinking, I have no other way. Saloni ma'am has always stood there that there is a way. It is okay to reach out for help. And that is where Pinky Banerjee, a senior counselor at UMEED who has been with us for the last 8 years, she has done her own training from Psychoanalytical Society. She specializes in psychiatric counseling and she has been visiting your college. I would request Pinky to share a few of her experiences. And I would like Pinky also to speak a little in Bangla because we want all of you to realize it is English, Hindi, Marwari, Bengali, a little bit of Gujarati. We are happy to hear any language because language of emotions and wellness does not suffice to any one script. So over to you, Pinky. You need to unmute yourself, Pinky. You are not able to unmute yourself. Now you
yes,
are.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Dilip sir and Saloni ma'am. So I'm Pinky Banerjee. So last 1 year, I'm a visiting counselor at Bhawanipur College. So in the last 3-4 months, more than at least 250 students we had counseled. And some of the students had mentioned that if we are coming face to face, it will be easier for us to open up ourselves because whenever we are at home, so many persons are there. So in front of them, we are unable to open up ourselves. And yes, apart from myself, Trina Guho Thakurata, she is also coming to Bhawanipur College. And before that, Nikita Jalan ma'am, she is a clinical psychologist. And of course, Saloni ma'am is there, who is always guiding us, helping us to how to deal with the specific situation or how to deal with the specific student. So every time, each and every moment, she is helping us a lot. So
And
as
over there, Pinky, Nikita Jalan, she is a young, proud mom. And yes, she is also there. She has conducted a lot of sessions along with me in your college. She is also available for online counseling now. And yes, I am very pleased to introduce Trina. Trina has been our youngest member, a very, very enthusiastic learner. She had done her master's in psychology from Rajabajar Science College. So Pinky and Trina are both products of Calcutta University. That's their alma mater. She has been trained in specializing especially in adolescent issues, and Trina has done a lot of work in terms of research and content development at UP. For the last 6 months, she has been visiting your college and has been meeting a lot of you. So Trina, over to you to share your experience and a message to college students here. I have unmuted yourself.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, Dilip sir, Pinky Di, Saloni ma'am, and all the students. Yes, as you mentioned also, like during the last 1.5 years, we all like dealing with this COVID-19, different effects on our physical health, and we all witnessing like countless death on a global scale. And however, the mental health of people across the globe also took a hit. And many people like in if we consider the Bhawanipur Education Society College also, like for the last few months, many students came and shared that, ma'am, what happened if my family member is get affected, if my loved ones will get affected. So there are many people that talk about the stress, anxiety, and worries they are experiencing for the last few months. And also, apart from COVID-19 situation, I must say that we are facing many concerns in our day-to-day life. They that can be related to academic issues, can be related to career guidance, many relationship areas, family concerns, any life situations. And for the last 4 years, the counselors of Umeed in association with Bhawanipur Education Society College, providing the counseling service to the students. And in the last 5-6 months, I observed and interacted with many students. And what I feel, and I must share that you also will be very happy to know that, Dilip sir, ma'am, that for the last few months that we are interacting with so many students, and I must say that they are much aware about their mental health. Definitely, they are aware about the importance of promoting their mental health. That is the reason why we are getting so many self-referral counseling sessions. As here also mentioned that last 5 months we are maintaining the absolute confidentiality, and we conducted more than 250 virtual as well as more than 70 face-to-face counseling sessions. As Pinky Di also mentioned, the students are preferring face-to-face sessions, and sometimes they share that, ma'am, at least virtual sessions are also better. We are able to interact in this situation considering the present situation. And we all know that it's not easy to talk about our mental health, talk about the concerns, but taking care of our mental health and physical health is utmost important now. So if any one of you want to share your concern, it's absolutely okay to seek help from the professionals. And as like with reference to the beautiful video of WHO shared by ma'am, if we notice the black dog, it's okay to talk with the professional to reduce the size of the black dog. It's absolutely fine. If you want to share anything in a non-judgmental environment, we are just a call away. And counseling sessions are available on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays, the timing is 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and Thursdays, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. And I must say it is very much appreciation and praiseworthy that Bhawanipur College is providing these facilities to the students. Thanks to the college, thanks sir, that the students are getting these opportunities. Any one of you want to share just for booking the counseling appointment, mail us. The mail ID is also mentioned here, counseling services @ bges.edu.in. In this mail ID, just drop a mail. As soon as we receive the mail, we will get back to you. So please stay safe, take care, and remember that we are just a call away whenever you want to share anything, any concern.
Thank you, Trina. The Umeed team, thanks to your Dilip sir, Miraj sir, Sohila ma'am, all of them who have always thought that students should have some access to this facility without feeling they have a burden of whom to look for, where to go, or even having any financial burden. These are absolutely free for students. We will also be happy to give you time beyond this stipulated if you need. So don't hesitate, write a mail and you will get a phone call. The college is always there looking at the outreach. So whether they are arranging placements, whether they have variety of events, they have speakers from all walks of life coming to Bhawanipur College. Similarly, as part of their student activities, Umeed team, I along with all the 3 counselors, we are available students, and I would repeat, don't let black dog become very big on you. The mental health is as critical for us to be able to sit and appear for a job interview. ये सब चीजें होंगी, मौसम बदलेगा और वापस आप अपनी लाइफ में आगे बहुत चीजें करें. In fact, we are already talking that your generation might have to face many more pandemics and many kinds of pandemics. So you cannot afford to start giving up at any point of time. Any situation is good for you to learn a few more skills. And that is what I have always seen Dilip sir saying. कि अच्छा भाई ये नहीं होता तो इस पे बात मत करो ना, आगे बोलो, next क्या करना है. Right? I can see Gaurav is also smiling. That's very, very signature Dilip sir. And I think you can't have a more motivated, absolutely real to life person who is your mentor. That life chalti rehti hai, rukta kuch nahi hai. Right? So dedicated to you, Dilip sir, and your entire team. Storms don't last forever. So let's be safe, let's be aware and be responsible. हो तिमिर कितना भी गहरा, हो रोशनी पर लाख पहरा, सूर्य को उगना पड़ेगा, फूल को खिलना पड़ेगा. हो समय कितना भी भारी, हमने ना उम्मीद हारी, दर्द को झुकना पड़ेगा, रंज को रुकना पड़ेगा. सब थके हैं, सब अकेले, लेकिन फिर आएंगे मेले. साथ ही लड़ना पड़ेगा, साथ ही चलना पड़ेगा. So we will all walk together with gratitude, with faith, with belief and optimism. So God bless you. Take care of yourself. आप जब तक है तब तक हमारे लिए उम्मीद है और सारा जहान है. So thank you so much, Dilip sir.